Well, let's put together your reporting, what Jim Cavanaugh's observations, what Pete Williams and you all have provided. Right, we have shots fired. We've heard students say they heard shots fired, but I've also seen a photograph of a man who's been shot and down at the scene who allegedly had a knife. So that can account for the shots fired. In essence, police dealt with this armed individual with some type of edged instrument, shot him, and he's down. As you rightly suggest, the other injuries appear, at this moment at least, to be related to this automobile that plowed into a group. Now, can we connect that automobile running into a group? Was this the driver who jumped out with an edged instrument, attacked someone, and was shot by police? That's a little ahead of our information right now. What we do know is that there are 14 different buildings. Even though the all clear has been given, there are 14 different buildings in the vicinity there that have been shut down by campus, where law enforcement is considering that a crime scene, and they're going through those buildings for two different reasons, obviously. Number one, are there any other victims that they haven't found yet? Number two, are there any other subjects or co-conspirators that could be involved in this? They have an obligation to clear those 14 buildings completely, and now we sit and wait for the information on the injured. Were they stabbed, were they shot, or were the injuries a combined result of this automobile that crashed into these students and other people on campus? What we do know, though, is one person is shot and down. We're told that person may be dead, and the pictures that I've seen and the accompanying information that's not been verified yet suggests that that was the attacker, not shooter, but that was the attacker who had an edged instrument, edged weapon, and was shot by police. We wait for that confirmation right now.
Yeah, and we see more of the video now, a few more, looks like bodies of people, activity, I should say more specifically. The SWAT team, they're in place here. The challenge again, Clint, going to the fact that you're looking at a university of this size. I interviewed a guy from Virginia Tech who was one of those shot during that massacre. He was in the classroom at that time, and the SWAT response to it after the shooter had gone into that classroom, it reads just an incredible moments of fear. So you've got this massive campus, the third largest in the United States. Whether there was an active shooter or not, it's believed to have been. I cannot imagine the intensity of trying to secure all of these buildings.
Well, of course, that's the challenge. You have, as you've reported, 65,000 people on campus, whether that's just students plus faculty, staff, and others. We've talked about this multi-agency response to this active attacker, where it's campus police, it's city, county, state, and federal. There's a lot of law enforcement officers on campus right now, and the whole thing they're trying to do, of course, is isolate this situation, make sure there's nobody else involved, and return the campus to normal as quick as they can. Now, classes have been canceled today, but you can imagine what it's got to be like tomorrow when these students come back. I was at Virginia Tech for the entire week at the time of the shooting, and for the week afterwards. I spent that week there for MSNBC and NBC, and it was a real challenge for everybody on that campus to try to recover, to try to come back. Now, we know that was a catastrophic loss that took place on that campus. Now, here we're trying to find out, other than the shooter, has anybody else been injured that seriously? And I think the information, the more it comes out, the more the students and faculty and the public is able to understand what took place. I think the better they're going to be able to embrace the truth and then go back like we have to tomorrow and face tomorrow, whether you're a student or a member of the faculty or staff. This campus has a responsibility to 65,000 students, and they have to get back up again.
Yeah. And we just got some sound in from a hospital worker updating us on the condition of some of those being treated. Let's play that.
I work in the hospital. I'm a nursing assistant, so I'm like CPR, first aid trained. So it's kind of like a couple seconds of like, do I go look to help? No, emergency services wouldn't want me in there. They'd want to do their own thing. I would just be in the way. So I was like, kind of like, oh, this opportunity almost like, but then it's like, yeah, no, like, this is like, stop fantasizing. It's serious. Get in the building, shelter, that kind of thing.
And where were you sheltered again?
So in a classroom here in Arps Hall.
How many people were there?
15, maybe.
And what were you hearing from anybody that was over there? Did you have friends or students who were closer? What was happening?
To the event? No. So the only thing I know from anyone near there is kind of a friend of my cousin who had talked, and she's the one that told me that they had in fact pulled the fire alarm to get out, but the cousin had gone back inside, like thinking the fire alarm, I've got work to do, ignoring the fire alarm, and then it happened after that. So I don't know anyone that was any closer. Though there have to be, dozens of people that were right there.
Did you see a vehicle?
No, I didn't see anything other than the cop car stand in the intersection there.
So they pulled the fire alarm after they heard this explosion or whatever this was?
No. So my understanding of the situation is that the assailants had pulled the fire alarm, and when I was walking to class, there was on the South Campus dorms near the Union, there had been a fire alarm pulled because I saw people standing outside. So I think they pulled the fire alarm. They pulled the fire alarm in here, went outside. Everyone went outside and was milling around outside. Then my cousin told me she went back in the building, and then the events occurred.
So the fire alarm was pulled at Watts.
The fire alarm was pulled at Watts, is my understanding, according to my cousin.
Sean,
I don't want to say. SEANCODY.
This is Sean Cody from Akron. So then the events occurred, the events being whatever this explosion was that you heard, followed by...
followed by 3 gunshots. So some kind of explosion sound. Like, I heard that there was cars being driven into people. Like, I'm sure you all know, you've heard that. It could have been that, but I'm pretty confident it was one loud, like, bang, people running, gray cloud. I thought it was dust because I thought something fell over, but then after the gunshots, it was like, oh no, that was an explosion. That was probably a bomb.
Okay, because one of the stories that we're hearing is that people may have been struck by a car. That's not something you saw.
That's not something I saw. It could have happened. That bang I heard could have been the car hitting something after running through people, hitting a wall. Like, I don't know for certain.
Okay.
But yeah. Sure.
Thanks, son.
So this was an interview that was just played on the local affiliate there. Again, all of these details very confusing. I think it's safe to say we will wait for official word from authorities. And at this hour, the official word is that the shelter in place has been lifted on the Ohio State University campus. There have been multiple injuries. We're not sure how these individuals who are being treated right now at the local hospital nearby, what these injuries are. Authorities, at least one official, indicating that some of those wounds were caused by a knife. So we're working to get more details here. It's a coordinated effort of local police as well. As you see the sheriff there, a number of agencies involved here. But right now, we do know there were several people injured. Our local affiliate says that a suspect was killed at the scene. We're going to take a break, be right back, and have more information for you on this breaking news that we're following out of The Ohio State University. Very early this morning, reports of an active shooter. As you can see, students very, very frightened there. Some injured now. We're just working to get more details to figure out what exactly happened on this campus. We'll be right back.